So this is our sixth info session. So thank you guys very much for joining us. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Tell me when you guys can see my presentation here. Can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to make it bigger. So what we're doing is we've worked with Eclectic Academy of Learning with Jill Dixon and Joanna Bender to come up with a second day program that will nicely complement their existing homeschool program on Tuesdays that offers history, geography, literature, grammar, and art. And my kids have been in Joanna Bender's program now for 4 years. They just love it. It's a fun homeschool event for them to go and experience, what class feels like and get to do some artsy craftsy things and make friends and have that one day where mom can go to a staff meeting or to a doctor's appointment or whatever I need to do, right? But I am an engineer by education, and for the last 10 years I've been a Gulfstream engineer, and I'm not naturally inclined to literature and grammar and art. I am more inclined to math and science and teaching reading like a programming language. And so my kids really enjoy doing math and science too. And I found that over the last few years, there's a ton of moms that don't want to touch math or science, or they don't like doing the experiments. And that is really where I thrive and where I find that a lot of homeschool kids enjoy in the early years. With homeschool, usually we're doing interest-based learning, and so little kids especially love hands-on things like creating a volcano or a rocket ship or learning about underwater sea creatures, and they're less interested in perhaps reading and geography. So what we've done is we've created a second day program. You do not have to do both. It can be, you can only do River of Life, you can only do EAL, or you can do both. It's going to be at the same church both days from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. River will offer early drop-off and extended drop-off if we have enough students interested in that. And we're going to do some awesome hands-on learning. This is a Christian-based program, so our math and science in particular will be taught from a Christian worldview. So this is young earth creationist science programs. We will not be delving into alternative theories. We'll just be teaching it from a Christian perspective. So that's the plan there. You do not have to be a Christian to participate. You just have to be okay with us teaching math and science from that perspective. So let's get into this. So again, my name is Amanda Peterson. I am first and foremost a born again believer. I have been blessed with 4 little kids. Their names are Emma, Hunter, Ethan, and Bennett, and they are 8, 6, 4, almost 4, and 1 year old. I went to Embry-Riddle for human factor psychology, which is engineering psychology and design of human subjects experiments. And I've used that knowledge for the last 10 years to design the Gulfstream flight decks for our pilots. I'm also a real estate agent, and my husband and I own several businesses, including some gun shops in Richmond Hill and in Guyton. And I find that interest-based learning when it comes to math and science can show itself in many ways. My kids do business-based learning all the time. And that's kind of what got us into this. So last year, I hosted a science group and a business entrepreneurship group in my home with about 10 families and about 18 kids. And we had a blast doing science experiments and learning the basics of businesses, how to write a business plan, what profit and loss looks like, how to create your product, how to not eat your product, all the things that little kids need to know to start their own basic business. We're talking lemonade stands and homemade headbands and the putty that they can make. They made these things and they sold them at the end of the year. And we did science experiments too, and we had so much fun. And that was kind of what had led me towards creating a full, true homeschool hybrid program and opening this up to the public. There is a huge need, though, that I saw when I was doing this for moms that are working. And I've been in that situation as a working mom for the last 10 years of needing a drop-off program. And that has become more apparent to me over the last 2 years, that this is a much more niche thing that is necessary as more and more working moms realize that homeschooling is what they want to do instead of public schooling. And so there is that Tuesday program with EAL, but there are very few other true drop-off programs. And it leaves moms in a bind if they are working moms that need a regular and consistent drop-off and they only have one day. So what we're going to do is we're going to do River of Life Homeschool Hybrid Academy. We will have hands-on learning. This is a hybrid school, so we'll drop off on Mondays, and then you'll have 1 or 2 lessons throughout the week for math or for reading, depending upon your child's age, and you'll come back to see us every Monday. We are going to especially work with younger students that are struggling in reading, but really love math and science. So we're going to try to make it interesting to those kids, again, that will really enjoy the hands-on learning and show and present reading in a different way that might help them. So let's talk about our mission again, is to partner with Christian homeschool families by providing a Bible-centered hybrid learning approach that combines hands-on academic instruction with biblical worldviews. So this is how it's going to work. AL will offer literature, grammar, history, geography, and art if you so choose to participate. Same hours, location, similar staff, similar student groups. River will offer Bible with a praise and worship drop-off. So your mama guilt for drop-off will hopefully be eased when the kids are having so much fun doing praise and worship in a very vibrant way in the mornings. We're going to do reading and handwriting basics, and then we're going to get into math and science. And this will all be based on their ability levels, and we'll go from 3 years old to about 3rd, maybe 4th grade, depending upon the ability levels of students we get signed up. So the day will look like this. 8 a.m. will be early drop-off. 9 a.m. we'll have our normal drop-off with praise and worship. We will do our break for reading and handwriting groups at 9:30. And these are going to be engaging, interactive classes. So when we do reading and handwriting, they're going to be up and moving around for the majority of the time. Sometimes they're going to need to sit and practice handwriting, but this is going to be things like moving around the room, doing hand gestures, doing songs. I know that these are little kids that can't sit in chairs all day long, nor do I want them to, because that's just going to make it harder when it gets to lunch and recess on all of the teachers. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And then we'll do lunch and recess and do our really, the most, I guess, pumped up activity will be in the afternoon when we get our math instruction around noon. And then we'll do our science experiments right before pickup, starting at 1:30. We'll again have optional extended stay depending upon the number of kids we'd be interested in that. I've been working with a golf instructor who's looking at doing golf lessons for the fall. That would be from 3 o'clock to 4:30, but we do need 10 kids that want to participate. So that depends on our number of interested kids and families. Our classes will look like this. We'll have a pre-K program for 3 to 4-year-olds, a early kindergarten program for 4 to 5-year-olds, and then we'll have 1st and 2nd grade and 3rd and 4th grade looped together. And then we'll do our math and reading separate based on ability levels. So science will be all together. We'll be doing the same science experiments with the littles as we do with the big kids. It'll just be a little bit more hands-on based on their age. And then let's start with the reading curriculum. So here's what we're going to do with reading. We're going to use something called the modified DISSTAR method. It is one of the oldest reading methods in the United States. Great for kids that have issues with swapping sounds or guessing words if they start with the same letter. Any kids that have dyslexia, this is awesome. This really caters towards those kids that love engineering and math because it presents reading in sort of a programming language style where it teaches the rules and the sounds, but it doesn't teach the letter names because that often confuses them. It doesn't teach them to memorize what a word looks like. It teaches them to sound it out, which is in turn teaching them how to spell words. You're going to see things like continuous and non-continuous sounds, and we're going to use this program, 100 Easy Lessons to teach your child to read for the little ones. Again, it's exactly how it sounds. Super easy, open and go. So when you do have at-home reading lessons once or twice a week, if you have a 5 or 6-year-old, it is you open it, you do 5 minutes. There are very scripted instructions, and you move on with life. So you're not spending all day doing reading. It teaches rhyming, it teaches understanding, and then again, it teaches those really complex words, those irregular words like said or or what's another one? Or sometimes sounds funny. And it'll bring those in really early into the program so that by the time you get to lesson 50 or 60, your kids are reading level 1 and level 2 and level 3 readers. And by the end of the program, they are far and beyond the average third grade student, which is 100 lessons. And for math, we're going to use the good and the beautiful. One more thing I'm reading though. If your child is already reading, that's great. We will have an older kids class where we're going to do some review of basic reading principles. And then we're going to move on to things like how to write a song, how to write a recipe, how to write a letter. And we're going to do some living books that go along really well with the cycle for American history this year that EAL has, as well as CC. So if you're involved in CC, this will mesh perfectly with that and be a really good opportunity for kids to read some living books. For math instruction, we're going to do the good and the beautiful again. We're going to use their lesson progression every year for their levels of good and the beautiful, which is also an open and go, very easy math curriculum that emphasizes hands-on learning with games and visual math, which is awesome. As an engineer, I love it. We're going to use their progression. It's 120 lessons, and we're going to get through almost all of them by the end of the year. We'll get to like 105 lessons for each level. It is super simple stuff, but I tell you what, they go well beyond what every grade level requires, and they do it in a spiral mastery method. So what happens is they'll teach something like the concept of counting coins, and then they'll come back to it again with a spiral in 5 or 6 lessons after that, and they're going to do that until they've mastered that concept, and they're going to build on it all the way, which is so much fun. And we're going to do a ton of the games in class. What's going to happen with some of the kids' levels, and you'll see this here in a minute when I show you the plan for at-home work versus in school work. And please keep in mind, my philosophy is as little at-home work as possible. But what you're going to see is that we'll present like 1 or 2 of the lessons for the week, and there's only 4 lessons required that week. So they'll get the games and the presentation of the first 2, and then all you have to do is follow up with the supplemental material for the last 2 lessons. And since this is a cyclical review spiral method, they'll get to see those things that they learned at home again next week in class. So that will be the good and the beautiful for math. And that's available online if you want to see it. We're going to purchase the books for each of the kids, the hardcover books. They're very pretty. So here's an example of one of the good and the beautiful math pages. They're very colorful. They have great artwork. A lot of my friends with little girls said that they love to doodle on this. It just really captures their attention. For little boys, it keeps them engaged, which is my favorite thing. And then they have a lot of visual instruction that relates math principles to things that they can easily see. For science, we're going to use very Christian-based science devotionals. So Louis Giglio is one of my favorite Christian-based science devotional guys. And what happens is there'll be topics throughout every week. So for instance, here's a topic called Drifting Away that talks about gravity. And it has a science devotional that brings it back to God and how God created the universe. And then we'll do tons of experiments related to gravity. And you'll get 2 to 5 experiments every week for your kid that they will do in class. They'll get to keep all of the supplies, so that way they can go home with their experiments they've created, and they can present it to mom and dad and grandma and teach, which is the best way to truly learn something, is teaching it. So that will be our science every week. What learning look like here is we'll have praise and worship for that Bible time early in the morning. We'll have a memory verse every week that we all work on. And then we're going to have prayer and evangelism days. In the spring, there is a International Evangelism Day and an International Prayer Day, and we will participate in both. For Evangelism Day, the kids are going to get the cute little baby Jesuses. Each one of them is going to get one, and they're going to get to trade them with their friends by sharing the gospel and practicing doing that in our groups. And for Prayer Day, we're going to have each of the kids open our topics with a prayer that they'll say themselves, and just lead us through prayer, whatever is on their heart. And I feel like not only are we going to be teaching really important topics like reading, math, and science, but our first and foremost priority as parents is to build up really good kids and to bring along disciples for the next generation. So we're going to be creating kids that have a foundation of basic memory verses that they can use to help set their life up and root themselves and share the gospel. and do that in a very tangible way. For reading, we'll do, again, ability grouped instruction and that modified DISTAR method for the younger kiddos. And we get into some living books and some interesting reading lessons for older kiddos. For math, it's going to be ability-based, hands-on manipulatives, doing games for mastery. And for science, we'll start with the devotional, lots of experiments, and lots of fun. So here's an example of what in-home versus in class is going to look like. So for pre-K, everything is going to be in class. Nothing is going to be at home. They don't need anything at home. For kindergarten, you're going to get 2 math lessons presented in class. They don't need to do math at home. That's going to be more than enough for them. For the reading, they're going to get 2 in class, and you can just supplement with reviewing that at home. In handwriting, again, they're going to get that in class. Nothing needed at home. First and second grade is here where we get a little bit of at-home instruction. So they're going to get those 2 math lessons in class. We follow up with 2 at home. They get 2 reading lessons in class. You do 2 at home. These should take you no more than 5 to 10 minutes for each of these things. So we're talking 2 days of maybe 10 minutes each. And then handwriting would be 2 in class. And I can't see past this. I think this says 2 at home. Yeah, big handwriting. Handwriting will also be through the Good and the Beautiful. It's great. It's very fun for them to trace over things that the Good and the Beautiful books have. They're very colorful again, and they just really promote good penmanship, but also at the same time, they're going to be tracing things like their memory verses. So that's a little bit more of the emphasis again there. And for 3rd and 4th grade, we're going to get those 2 math lessons in class, 2 math lessons at home. All their reading lessons will be in class. They're not going to need to supplement with the Good and the Beautiful reading. We will be reading through a chapter book. You're welcome to read that with them at home, but they'll get it in class. And if they're doing EAL, they're going to get a ton of reading through EAL anyways. Handwriting, we'll do 2 in class and 2 at home. And each of these grades is going to be doing a science fair project, which we will have in the spring and as well as in the fall, as well as mathletes competitions, which you won't need to prepare any for. That's just kind of a fun thing to go over what we've learned so far for the year and have a fun team competition to see which team wins the mathletes. And so for the science fair project, I'll have books available for all the kids where they can pick out a really super simple science fair project. And again, teaching, the way that they will be doing this, teaching their science fair project, which should be super simple, but a lot of fun for them, is going to be the best way for them to retain that knowledge and have fun with their classmates at the same time. So let's see. Small groups for this program will be the emphasis. We must have 25 students in order to proceed with the program, and I think we will certainly get there. We are halfway there already, and that will give us a break even for the curriculum costs, the facility costs, the insurance, the science experiment supplies, teachers, et cetera, et cetera. But the classes will remain small, so less than 10 kids per grade level is my anticipated class size. And then we talked a little bit about those special events throughout the year. We'll have the science fairs, 1 per semester, the mathlete competition, 1 per semester, prayer day, and evangelism day that we'll be participating in a fun way. And then beyond the classroom, this is again American History Cycle for CC and for EAL and for tons of other homeschoolers this year. We're going into American history. So we will be also offering a DC trip that I am planning and coordinating. It will be the week of October 17th. We will go to the White House for a tour. We will see some Smithsonian museums. We're going to go to Colonial Times Historic Theme Park. And this history is really going to come to life for these little kiddos when they can, they're going to be learning about our founding fathers, and at the same time, they're going to be seeing the sites and getting to see really cool things that a lot of us have on our bucket list, like the White House. I've never been, so I'm excited. So we're going to go do that on October 17th. This is a cost outside of this. If you want to participate, you're welcome to. You do not have to, but I will be coordinating that for the kids as well. Support for homeschool families. So this will be flexible for the parents. So if you are a working family, that's just fine. If you are a family of moms that want to come and participate and learn with your kids, if you want to stay and do the science experiments with them, awesome, we would love to have you. But we do have full drop-off available. There will be a Bible study for moms. We just secured our Bible study teacher, Miss Sandy Henry from Abundant Life Non-Denominational Church down the road. She is a wonderful mom with 30 plus years experience ministering to young moms, and she has taught 10 plus kids in her home for the last 3 decades. So she knows what it feels like to be a homeschooling mom with lots of kids. And so that's really important to have someone who can relate to us. So she's going to do Bible study for the moms during the kids' classes. If you want to participate, you're welcome to. If not, you don't have to. But what a great opportunity to refill ourselves at the same time. We fill up our cup again at the same time as our kids have childcare, which doesn't happen a lot for homeschool moms. So that'll be fun. And then again, you'll have a lot of support from me. So you'll have a single portal where you'll get videos to supplement whatever we're doing that week for school. So if you have questions, not only will the instructions be so clearly in the Open and Go curriculum, but there will also be videos to go along with it. And we'll have a class text thread, just like EAL does, of all the moms. If anybody has questions, we will be right there to help you. We do have a statement of faith, so this will be an unapologetically Christian group and curriculum. So we will affirm very basic Christian tenets, and we'll be able to see our statement of faith when you get the enrollment forms. But it is basically the authority of Scripture, the salvation through Jesus Christ alone, the existence of the Trinity, biblical marriage and family, sanctity of life, Christian discipleship. Those are the tenets, and we're going to outline them and then just say, while you don't need to be a Christian yourself or profess Christian faith, we do just ask that you will be respectful of all of us that share those Christian views. And that's what's going to be presented for math and science. So here's the tuition and fees. So I did say we need 25 students in order to break even. We have quite a lot of costs when it comes to facilities, insurance, teachers, all of that. I am not being paid, even though I'm the director of the program and will likely being one of the teachers. I'm doing this for my kids as much as I'm doing this for yours. So registration fees will be just in line with EIL. It's $150 for the first student, $125 for each additional student. There'll be annual supply fees. So there's a course pack for the curriculum, which is $125. You'll get the books directly from 100 Easy Lessons to Learn How to Read, the supplemental writing book, companion books, the Good and the Beautiful writing books, and the Good and the Beautiful math books. You'll also get all of the supply fees for science every week. And that is noted, their science supply fee is $50 per child. The actual cost of the science supplies every single week is going to be about $12 to $15 per child. We're going to capture that, though, the delta there in the tuition. And it will be $45 per week for the first child, $40 per week for every follow-on child. If this feels steep to you, I have programs for mothers that want to come and participate and be our mom volunteer for the class to reduce the price. I also need 2 more teachers if you're interested in doing that. We have 2 great teachers right now and a third that I'm waiting on confirmation from EAL. They're just lovely ladies, but I do have 2 spots open still. And then optional add-ons, we will have early drop-off from 8 to 9 a.m. if you need that. And then we will be looking for an extended stay program with having 10 kids enrolled for doing golf lessons through First Tee Savannah, which is it's a PGA group. And that would be the fall from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Again, we talked about those teaching and volunteer opportunities. And if you are interested, I can talk with you about the cost reduction for each. Our teachers are going to be paid the same as EIL because it's not fair for me to undercut them when EIL pays them $140 a day. But that will be 8 hours, I believe, $140 a day. And they must be present from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Here's our calendar for the year. So our orientation would be on August 10th at Redeemer Bible Baptist Church, which is right there where the old Ephesus, it used to be Ephesus, now it's Redeemer. And they're on Goshen and Highway 21, right next to, if you know where the Waffle House is, that's where they are. Super convenient location if you're headed into Savannah for work. So right on 21. Our orientation will be on August 10th again, which is the first week of EAL. And then we will have our first week for River of Life on August 24th. We will break for fall break in line with Effingham County school schedule and our DC trip in October. And then we will go a little bit further than EAL does. We're going to add on an extra week in December. Our last get together for the fall will be December 14th. And then for the spring, we'll start back up January 4th, that Monday, and we will go all the way through May 10th. We will have prayer day on March 1st, spring break in line with Effingham County on the 15th of March. And then we will have our evangelism day on the 26th. And at the bottom there, you can see that we'll have our science fair, our mathlete day, and our parent presentation the last 2 weeks. There will be a central portal for communication, as we discussed. You'll get video tutorials. You'll get information on the science fairs and the mathletes. You're not going to be digging through your emails for where was the last email related to that item. That drives me nuts. I need clear communication in one location. And again, we talked about those daily text messages for the classes. So the thing that really works well seems to be when we are doing activities, especially when moms are working, right? To have one class text per group, and to have the mom volunteer for that class, be taking pictures of your kids and giving little updates about what they did that day to send it off. I can tell you as a working mom, when I receive this and I'm in a meeting or I'm dealing with a stressful day, or I had some Gulfstream drama going on, when I got to see my kids doing something fun with a smile on their face, it made all the difference. So we'll be striving to do that. So you guys, if you cannot participate with your kids, you'll get to at least see them.
Sorry to interrupt, Amanda, but I've got to run. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're in the end. I'll get with you about the last bit of information.
Yes, great. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so here's the last few items, ladies, and then I'll let you guys go because I know you got kids probably screaming like mine are. So the enrollment process, if you are interested in doing this, looks like this. Submit the interest form online. Then we'll do a, you've already attended your interest session, the info session. We'll do a family one-on-one interview to kind of feel out on Google Meet over 15 to 20 minutes where you think you want to place your kids, which level you want them in for math, what level you think they're going to do for reading. And then I will send you the forms for our handbook and our statement of faith to review, and then we will complete your registration. I need 25 kids to sign up in order to move forward with this by August 1st. So until we get to the 25 kids, I will not be taking your money. Once we have 25 kids committed to enrollment, then I will send out a link for you to go ahead online, and you can pay with credit card or checking or whatever you want to do through Stripe, I believe it is, and do the online registration and course pack fees. And then we will get together on August 10th for orientation, hopefully. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions? I'd love to field some questions. What do we got?
I think you covered everything.
Oh, well, thank you. I felt like this is the 6th time doing this. So I've tried to incorporate the questions that usually come up when I'm in here.
I'm wondering, so my son's already completed 100 easy lessons to learn to read. And so I'm just wondering what happens after that.
Yeah, I'll show you. So here's our plan for the older kids. We're going to go down to 3rd and 4th grade. Okay. So can you see this?
Small.
Okay, let's see if I can make it bigger.
Maybe I can.
Okay, so what we're going to do for big kids is the first few weeks are going to be review of those concepts from 100 easy lessons to learn how to read. At the same time, we're going to be doing our living book. And for the life of me, I don't remember the name of the living book we're going to have for the first 5 weeks. It is something like The Sound of the Beaver, I think it is. Oh, please tell me if that sounds right to you guys. It is a book based on early American history where the first settlers of the colonies came over. A little boy gets left here while his parents go back to get the rest of the family, and he interacts with the Native Americans and gets to figure out how to live life. It's a really cool story. Little boys love it. Girls find it engaging too, but instead of doing like Little House on the Prairie where the boys are going to be totally not interested, we're going to do The Sound of the Beaver. So that's going to be happening for the first 2 weeks as we do our quick review of those concepts of 100 easy lessons to learn how to read so that we are all on the same page and then can move forward. After that, we're going to be starting curriculum based on topics. So it will be 2 weeks of what is a poem and what sort of poems are there, and let's write some poems. We're going to do the same thing for letters. We'll do short stories, songs, recipes, and then we will finish off our living book in strong fashion, and we might actually get through 2 living books, hopefully. And then we will do presentations the last week. So they're going to be putting together a lot of fun things in class, like they're going to be writing these poems, and we're going to be doing some artwork with it, and we'll have those prepared so that when the presentations come at the end of the year, they can present their poem they made in class and present their family recipe in the recipe book that we'll put together and their song that they wrote, and all of these things that are engaging and hands-on and more fun to do than just sitting there going over grammar. And the reason why we're not doing so much grammar is because there are tons of kids that are in both EAL and in River of Life. So this is more reading instruction and interest, right? So like
Right.
the interest will be the living book and how to write the recipes and do the songs, and not so much grammar instruction that EAL will capture.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered everything. Amanda, are you able to email me the slides just so I can go over it with my very visual husband?
Absolutely, yes. If you have the link to the interest form, can you guys see this? Right here is the info session presentation. So you guys
Oh, perfect.
So if you want to see the slides that I just presented, you can click there and you can get that. And any other questions that you have for me, let's just schedule a one-on-one. I think that's the next step, is usually our family interviews. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one, I will also put the link for that right below the interest slides when we're done with this meeting. That way we can go over any other questions. If you are interested in doing something like being the mom volunteer for the class and having the price reduction that way, or being a teacher, I would love to talk with you more about that too.
Okay.
So the plan is going to be, for those that want to do teaching, I will be providing the curriculum and the science experiments every week, and I'm very involved. So that the teachers will just be presenting the material in the standardized fashion based on the ability level. So we're all on the same page, and this isn't going to be a one-off thing here and there where some people will be doing more or less, or with their flair of things. It's going to be very similar, and that will help with our families with multiple kids. That way they're all doing the same thing in a consistent fashion every week, and there's no confusion. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but a really important thing for me is that when we have drop-off, it is not that gut-wrenching experience that I have had for many years with my little kids, where they don't want to leave mom and mom has to go to a meeting, and it's a time crunch and they're just in tears. So instead of that, we are going to try to eliminate the mom guilt by having it be a very fun drop-off event, high energy VBS style praise and worship. We're going to do like 4 spring songs with the dances, and we'll do some what is it called? Montgomery Kids VBS style songs, and they'll just have some fun and get to move their bodies before we go into reading and handwriting, which is going to be the majority of the sitting, right? So move their bodies, get their blood flowing, get all that energy out, and then we'll get into the sitting down for handwriting portion. So hopefully we'll also be able to get you in and out if you're doing drop off, and have a happy kid.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. Okay, so if you ladies are interested in talking one-on-one about what you think your kids might need, or seeing if you have any unique questions for their involvement, I would love to do that. Again, I will post that link to the one-on-one signups here in the interest page in just a few minutes. And I can't wait for this. I hope that this happens this year. So if you guys know of anybody else that might be interested, please share this with them, because I need 25 kids in order to do this for my own. So we need to break even in order to cover that facility cost and insurance. And so if you could share this with your friends, your family, anyone local that you think might find this interesting, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Will do.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Great afternoon. Nice to see you, ladies.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.